What's up? I'm Dane Burman and I've been skating for 27 years. I've fallen over a lot of times and here are some of them. Bunch of sacks over the years.
Didn't work out.
I guess we can start with my most recent one, which I wasn't even really skating when I split my head. I went to that school in Huntington Beach with the curved out ledge and I'd never been to that school before ever in my life. And I got all excited and I was like, holy shit, there's that fucking ledge. And I ran down the stairs and I didn't even see it, but they're building a big shade cloth above it. And the second I ran and my wheels hit the ground, just hit the front of my forehead into like one of these big metal bars that were coming down. And I was just laid out on the ground and I had no idea what had even happened to me. I stood up and I just grabbed my head because my head was hurting. I was wearing a hat. And then I took my hand away and it was just covered in blood and my hat was soaked through with blood. And I walked back up the stairs and I thought I was gonna be all tough and just go back to the car and wash my head off. And I got to the top of the stairs and my vision was just getting narrower and narrower and everything was disappearing. And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to fucking sit on the ground. I'm gonna look like a pussy. I just went to my car and I have some sheets and stuff in there and I cut some of the sheet up and I folded it and put it on my head and duct taped it shut and then put my hat on and it was fine after that. I just skated the rest of the day. I mean, I've had a bunch of sacks over the years. The Barcelona one, it's a rail, it's like a 4 flat, 10, flat, 10, flat, 10. I get on, I'm going across, and I go down the first kink and I'm going across the second flat, and then right as it went from flat to down, the front truck slipped off and I jumped from the top of the 10 to the next flat, and the first thing that hit in the bottom of the kink of the rail was my knee. And it bent my knee around the rail backwards and then I sacked it. The clip doesn't look as bad as what it felt, but I was laying on the ground, I thought I'd broken my leg. Well, I kind of did, I broke my kneecap. I was done. That was the worst thing I've ever done by so far. The pain from what I did to my knee lasted for almost 2 years. What it took for all of that to stop hurting was to stop eating bread. Spent thousands and thousands on anything I could to make it feel better and nothing did anything until I just stopped eating bread. It was right after I'd hurt my knee really bad in Barcelona and Volcom hit me up and they're like, hey, we need an ad. And I was trying to think of what I could do while I couldn't really skate to try to get this photo. And there was this really long, tall, mellow rail kind of by the old Zero office. And I was like, I might be able to just jump onto a board slide on that thing and just hold it and we'll see how we go. I don't know what happened, but I'd sacked the crap out of it and I went over and then sideways through it and I hit my thigh super hard on one of the supports. I got the worst hematoma in my thigh. It looked like there was a bone in the top of my thigh. It was just this swollen, rock hard lump in there. And at the time too, I hadn't gone to hospital or hadn't gone to a doctor to check on my knee after I hurt it in Barcelona. And I didn't know, but I'd torn my PCL, MCL, torn my patella tendon and broken my patella. And I was trying to skate with all that not working. I sacked my bike one time when I was a kid. This is really stupid. I was 7. It was 3 stairs, 8 foot, and then a fucking wall. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna ride down these 3 stairs on my bike. Rode down it, looked up, wall, hit it, and just went whack and sacked the gooseneck of my bike. Hit my face on the wall, everything. I was like, what did I think was gonna happen after I rode down these stairs? Anyone who would have watched that happen would have been like, yeah, of course that just happened. There was no other outcome right there. I had the slam in the Volcom video. I was at UCI and it's where the hubbas are that Heath grinded. My first ollie, my back truck gets in good, but my front truck kind of misses and I just had a wheel on top of the rail and it slips immediately into a Smith and I dove chest first and I hit pretty much every extremity on the front of your body that you can hit.
Didn't work out.
Both forearms and elbows, I hit my chin, I hit my top lip and my nose, I hit both of my hip bones, both of my knees, and I had all this adrenaline from actually pulling the trigger and jumping on the rail, so I was next one, and I just ran back up the stairs, didn't even think about it, didn't look at anything that I'd done to myself. Tried again, and it flipped off toe side, and I just dove out and scraped all the same things, all my forearms, my elbows, everything. All right, those are the 2 worst things that can happen. Next one. I landed the 3rd one, rode away, and then as I was coming back to get high fives, I started feeling really sick. It was that shock feeling, when it starts to kick in when you've actually hurt yourself. And I looked down at my shin and there was just, my whole front of my pants was just covered in blood. I rolled my pants up and I'd peeled my shin off underneath my kneecap. But that one sucked.
Didn't work out.
This one's pretty funny. When I was like 14 or 15, there's this spot near my house called the Super Center. It has like a baby loading dock out the back. It's like 2 foot high. For some reason, I'm like, oh, it'll be sick if I put like 2 parking cones next to each other, and I'm just gonna roll off the loading dock between them and like kind of like splay them, like knock them over or something. As I rode off it, I hit the cones and it kind of knocked my board a little bit to the side, and I pressure flipped the board as hard as possible into my own face. It just sprung up at 100 miles an hour, and I'm like 14, so I'm riding the most razor-tailed board you've ever seen. Smack, right into the bottom of like, right below my lip. It pushed my bottom teeth through my lip. My lip was like hooked over my bottom teeth. I went home and I didn't want to tell my mom because she hated that I skated, and she was like, you come home hurt anymore, we're taking the board, whatever. Got home at like midnight or whatever it was, and I just got a bunch of tissues and I stuffed them all in the inside of my mouth. Next morning, Saturday morning, woke up super early, caught the train into the city to go skate with my friends, and I avoided my mom for the entire weekend until it had like kind of started to heal and stop bleeding. I remember waking up in the morning and just like looking at my pillow, and my pillow just soaks with blood. I don't know, I think all my other slams, I break stuff, like break wrists and hands and all sorts of shit, but they're not even like funny. You're just like, oh really? That's how you got hurt? It never happens really on like the cool stuff.